Hello there, beautiful people. My name is Samira, and I'm the host of the Samira Space, where real and authentic connections are made. I have with me Mr. Musa Azara, who is a financial analyst and a chartered accountant, and he's here to give us insights. It's nice to have you.
Nice to have you too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Musa, can you give us like your a bit of background and just a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, my name is Musa, as she earlier established, Musa Kabir Azara. I'm from Nasarawa State and I happen to come from a very rich local government called Awe Local Government.
Okay.
Yes,
Not
yeah.
Azara.
Azara is a development area under Awe. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we were once a local government.
No.
Yeah, but it was scrapped by the Obasanjo administration.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm from there, and coming from there is quite, you know, on its in its own diversity. Has shaped us to be people that are quite, hospitable,
Okay.
and we tend to grow up. We had the opportunity to grow up with a lot of people, a diverse community, with
Okay.
a lot of people from different tribes, and people from my town normally are people that are so much in love with education,
Okay.
farming, and mining because that's mostly our source of inspiration, source of
Right.
income. So mostly when you meet people from my town, they are people that are more self-aware and all about self-development.
That's
So
amazing.
in essence or in a nutshell, I would see myself as someone who's always willing to learn. So when you ask about my background, I'll just tell you that Musa Azara is someone that from inception is always looking forward to grow as a human being.
Right. That's amazing. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
beautiful. So, let's talk about. We're going to talk about so much, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what should we start with, like governance or family. What should we start talking about? Because
Maybe family,
okay,
yes, because family is actually the backbone of every society.
right,
Yeah, if we're going to talk about governance, we still have to come from family
right,
because everyone or every person that is in a position of leadership
mhm,
comes from a family.
right,
And
right,
then, the family has its role in every society, which so often we have underestimated what we've taken from other things
okay,
when we put them into family. For example, I'll give you an example.
okay,
The role of genders. When I say a father,
yes,
or when I say a mother, people just assume the male gender is a father.
right,
But when you look at it, a male is a different person. Fatherhood is a responsibility that can be taken by everyone
right,
and anyone.
by everyone,
Yeah, yeah, because most of the times when you look at in other countries, you see that there are people who are sperm donors.
okay,
And now you donate your sperm, that doesn't make you a father, right? Because you're
right,
just giving out the part of you to someone and you don't even know where that is going to.
right,
So now that child grows up maybe with a mom or with someone who would be seen as a father figure. Now that is the responsibility of that person.
right,
But it doesn't mean he fathered the child, right?
right.
So in essence, the fatherhood is not just about being a male. So family encompasses a lot of things. I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but
Yes,
if we start talking about family,
we're not going to
we
finish.
will not finish.
Yes,
And then when you look at this society,
yes,
some parents, and it is the lack of understanding the responsibilities and roles of fatherhood, motherhood in society. That's what.
so
has
what
led
are
us
the
to.
rules actually? Because I think it's not so clear to everyone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So now you see a father, or maybe I'll start with the mother because
Okay.
she's the most essential part of
The family,
parenting. Yeah.
right,
So a mother is more of a nurturer. Yeah, a mother is someone that and first of all, I'll
Yeah.
even give you an example.
Okay.
A good person or a good lady can be a bad mother,
Mm-hmm.
and she can also be a bad wife.
Right.
Yeah, and you can see someone that is a good father, a good mother, but a bad wife.
So a bad wife in terms of what? What would you say is a bad wife?
Now, if I have either genders, either
Yes.
a mother or father who's a kidnapper, now She kidnaps people
Right.
and extort money from other people, right?
Yes.
Making them sad. But when she comes home with that money, she treats her children very, very well. That makes her a good mother. But as a person,
She's a bad.
she's terrible
Mm.
because she's making other people sad.
Yes.
And then at that point, she might also be a good wife by doing all the necessary things that her husband requires from her.
Yes.
And that goes to fatherhood as well.
Right.
Yeah, so it's more of a responsibility rather than an identity.
Right.
Yeah, being a man doesn't necessarily make you a father.
Right.
And then being a woman does not necessarily make you a mother. That's why we have words like father figures and mother figures, because I might adopt a child and treat him in
Yes.
the right way.
Right.
Yeah, so I feel like the mother is a nurturer. Without her, no matter what, the child might not have compassion.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do children come into this dynamic? Like, what's the role of children?
Well, children are gatekeepers because if you look at it, every parent that has no child gets worried. And in fact, in our societies, if you don't have a child, it's almost like a stigma.
Right.
People be like, she has not given birth, had another wife, or Obanje. You understand? Stuff like that.
Yes.
So children are gatekeepers, and they are people that actually make, because without children, you're not looking for future. You're not looking at the future. If you don't have many people that don't have children, when you look at them,
Yes.
they're always having fun, not planning about
Right.
anything.
They don't have a care in the
Exactly.
world.
They don't really care about anything.
Yes.
It's just like when people say life is perfect. To me, perfection is not really something that you should look for. Because
Okay.
if today was perfect, tomorrow would not be necessary.
Right.
Because we are always looking forward to tomorrow because there's something we need to fix from today or from yesterday.
Right.
So children are just like that tomorrow.
Yes.
So without them, there's no essence of growth, development, and the need for any sustainable action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how can we strengthen the bond of family? Because now there is a lot of families that are no longer together. There's a lot of that in our society. A lot of separation. The kids are abandoned. So what do you think causes this sort of menace in our society?
So it's mostly lack of identity.
From identity, how?
So now we underestimate how much we've taken from other cultures. Now, when you
Okay.
look at the most developed countries in the world or the most successful countries in the world, they don't even speak English language. So now, when I was growing up, I knew that whenever I went to the village,
Yes.
they will tell you this family Masa Aska, this family, what they do, they are hunters.
Yes.
This family, they are blacksmiths. Now, this was their own identity, and they grew up with an essence.
Right.
And every child that was born to that family was actually raised or brought up in a manner or in a way that he would grow up
To emulate.
Exactly.
So that's the identity you're talking, right?
Now, we've taken so much from different cultures, different religions, different.
Yes.
So now, when you look at Indians, Indians have never changed. They've not changed. They still are Indians anywhere they go. When an Indian come to this community, if 5 Indians can afford to rent one house each,
Yes.
they would not. They would rather rent a house together.
That communal.
Exactly.
Yes.
But for us, we prefer comfort. So, and it's not our fault,
Yes.
because we've taken so much that we've actually lost our identity. Most of us now, if you ask us, what was your great grandfather, what was he doing?
Yes.
You have no idea. You just know he was there or he was rich. He had money. That's all. What was he? We don't know. So I
Right.
think unless we try to bring back, when I was a kid, whenever I go to the village, my
Yes.
grandmom would gather us and tell us bedtime stories. Things like this don't happen anymore. So unless we find a way to meet up with our or to change our conventional education system where
Okay.
we are not being taught the history of Hitler,
Right.
the history of, we should be taught our own history. Edo, Benin, Sefa dynasty from the Borno Empire. We have a lot of rich history that should be, incorporated to our conventional education system.
Yeah. So who do you think sets these things? Like, can it be changed? Because why are we like talking about Adolf Hitler instead of
Yeah,
maybe like you said,
yeah, our
focusing
own
on our own people?
Musa Rabe from the Borno Empire.
Yes.
Well,
Who sets the tune for that sort of
that's where governance comes in.
right?
So, um, it's not when we say governance, it's not about the governor, the
Okay.
president, because when you look at it, there are many, 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 many levels of power that
Yes.
needs to take charge of every decision before it even gets to the final stage. People, or we as a people, are not really, strong to our will. Most of us just want to survive, which
Yes.
is reasonable because there's a lot of hunger. But we've not brought ourselves up in a way that we can, withstand a lot of pressure.
Right.
So I feel like the government, yes, do have more of the responsibility, and that is, in fact, the most important thing: the
Yes.
education system. But now you see, they can't fix the education system
Yes.
when people are hungry. So first of all, health and agriculture. When that is fixed,
Yes.
now our education system needs to be revamped totally.
Right.
And that's when the governance comes in. I usually am not the person to hold the president most of the times.
Accountable.
Yes, I like to start with the grassroots. And that's our governance. Some of the times this decision, in fact, in a sane society, the governor is more powerful than the president because I
Right.
mean, when the president leaves the FCT and comes to my state,
Yes. He doesn't know anything about
I am the mayor. I can
Right.
arrest the president in my state. That's how it is.
Yes.
But because of the financial autonomy in the country, every money has to come from up.
Yes.
So, and if the president says my money is not coming to me, everything is doomed. So that's why governance has been very poor. But to me, before the society changes, if you look, I don't know if you're a fan of sport, but 2022 World Cup,
Okay.
when the World Cup was taking place in Qatar, the Japanese people, whenever the match was finished,
Yes.
when everybody leaves the stadium, they don't. They stay and pack all the dirty cups, the dirty leather.
Right.
So now that is how they grew up. If you go to Japan, go to a
Okay.
restaurant, you see someone eats his food and then goes on to wash the plate before he keeps it.
Seriously.
Yes, and he might be a
Wow.
billionaire. So now
Wow.
that is where we come in, not necessarily the governors.
Governor,
We
yes.
have to start taking responsibility for our own actions
Change our orientation.
exactly before we hold our leaders accountable. Yeah.
So, how important is education? Like in the north, there is a lot of out of school children, there's a lot of illiteracy.
Yeah.
So, how important is that, and how can that be changed? How important is that for a
Well,
society?
well, it's quite complex because especially in the north, because we see what plays out in the north is the total disengagement between culture, tradition, and religion. Now, people are practicing those three and they're trying to align them. There are
Yes.
things that don't go, they're not in any way Islamic, but because we are Hausa or we are from the north,
Yes.
and we feel that we are the origins of Islam or whatever it originates of, whatever it is,
Yes.
we do some things and we don't really care. For example, now you see, with the things we say, Wasankan emoji, you see your brother coming to play with your wife, and some of these things are not acceptable. But
Right.
we've taken them. So now
So that's culture, right? That's
that's
where
culture, yeah.
That's
and
not
it's not tradition self, and it's
Right.
not Islam. It's just a
Okay.
culture. Because tradition is something that you learn in the course of time and you make it a habit. Now, culture are exhibitions that
Okay.
people just do because someone did it. You get, they are not values, they
Okay.
are not principles, they're just
Okay.
exhibition, characters of people. Now, unless we educate and we start to filter what some clerics, as unlearned as I am, I can go to the north today because I can speak Arabic,
Yes.
gather people and tell them anything I want, and you see them shouting, "Hey!" and that's it. I'm a cleric. I'll tell them things and they'll believe.
Can you speak Arabic, by the way?
Yeah, yeah. I can
Where did
speak
you
Arabic.
learn from?
Egypt.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How long did it take you to learn that?
Well,
'Cause
it
I
took me
love
over
Arabic.
a year to learn, but over the course of my 4.5 years stay there,
Yes.
I found it normal, and then I
Okay.
spoke it. Yeah. So these are the things that happen because our religious clerics, some of them are not even, qualified. When you go to Saudi,
Yes.
you don't see Sudais, Shuraim, and all those imams. You don't see them giving da'wah
Right.
because
What?
da'wah is a field on its own. It's a
Mm.
before you come out and gather people and tell them this, the prophet said this, that.
Yes.
There are rules of engagement. You need to go and study it. You need
Right.
to do a degree on da'wah before you are given the license to preach in most of these countries. But here, the moment you finish the Quran, you go and start
You
preaching.
just yes.
So that is what has brought disorientation in our society. You see people
Yeah.
marrying four wives without knowing, okay, I do not need to marry four wives unless I meet this criteria. And then they have plenty children, and then those children become uncontrollable. And that
Yes.
is why the North is the way it is. So it's quite complex, and I think a lot has to be done for
Done.
that to
Yeah.
be good.
Do you think it's ever going to get better? Like Nigeria as a whole, in terms of like the governance, why do we keep choosing quote and unquote bad leaders? Why do you think that is? And what needs to be changed?
Well, unfortunately for me,
Mm.
I'm a very optimistic person.
Okay.
So every single time I feel it's really better.
Okay.
But sometimes some people will try to force you to maybe lose hope. But I've never lost hope, and
Okay.
I still feel like can change.
Okay.
Now, what I feel people should do is to understand that we need to stop bringing in politicians.
Okay. Need to stop bringing. How do you
In
mean?
politicians, we should stop voting people that grew up in politics.
Right.
We need to start working with technocrats, people that have worked in the private sector, people that understand money. Because you can be a good administrator, you can
Yes.
be a good manager, or be a bad governor. It's possible. But when you're a good administrator and a good manager, even if you're a bad governor, you might do the right things. The only
Right.
problem is your relationship with some humans would not be as perfect as a politician would have. A politician can come and lie to us, give us money, and that's it. It's a short-term fix. Just like
Yes.
craving for something that you
Ri-
just quench at that
Right.
point. But when someone is an administrator, he would do his job regardless. So I feel like Nigerians should stop focusing on people that are famous based on politics, which is not. I'll give you an example on my stage. The governor is not famous
Yes.
with people. People are not really. I personally am not his fan,
That's the
but
current governor.
yeah,
Okay.
but when you look at the thing, I mean, my state has paid salary for how many years without borrowing? That is a stride, And when you look at the things he does,
Yes.
there are things that are legacy projects. They're not things that are done so that people will hail him. Hey, this guy
Right.
did that. And in Nigeria as a whole, that's what we've failed to adopt.
Right.
All we want is fix it now, fix it the short term. When you look at the past administration, this administration is trying to find a way to gather money, to find a way to have a sustainable source of income. In the past, Nigeria would borrow money.
Yes.
You and I now, if we every month, I say you bring 200, you bring 200, I bring
Yeah.
200, and in the end, we gather 1 million, I give it to you. A normal mind would expect that you would invest that money so that by
Right.
the time my turn comes, you would have something to pay me, right? What Nigeria does is borrow money and pay salary. Now, how would you get money to pay back?
Right. That's
You-
where the problem
You
is.
borrow money to invest in electricity so that business will boom. You
Right.
tax those businesses and pay. You borrow money, fix the refinery so that you produce fuel, get money, pay your loan. These are the things you don't borrow money to pay salary, and that is why I commend my current
Governor.
governor, and I can see that this current administration is driving towards that path. To even though a lot of wrong decisions will be making,
Right.
so I just feel like we just need to stop bringing in politicians.
So, Mr. Musa, are you interested in running for office someday?
What type of office?
Like political, maybe be a governor someday, or like House of Reps, senator, stuff like that.
Well, humbly, it's something that I would love to,
Okay.
but I feel like I'm not fully equipped because being in positions like that,
Mm,
there's you need to have very strong resolve,
right.
and sometimes I tend to be quite
Okay.
emotional.
Okay.
There are things that maybe I'm supposed to overlook and think logically,
Yes.
but I'm a type of person that has zero or no tolerance for lack of discipline. And
Mm,
sometimes your actions or inactions might be very detrimental to your whole tenureship of your. So I feel like I'm liable to make emotional decisions
yes.
that might render my political career useless. But you
Yeah.
never know.
And
You
is that
never know.
something you're working to change, or this is just how you are as a person?
Nobody is the way it is. That's just a fallacy that people, give us excuses to.
Okay, like that's how I am. I
Yeah,
cannot
yeah.
change
Nobody is
this.
like that. People
Yeah. So you
change.
can change
Yes,
whatever.
yes. I'm working very hard towards that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working really, really hard to make sure that sometimes I just overlook some things. And I think there's a lot of progress.
Mm-hmm.
But the pressure of being a governor is different from the pressure I'm getting now. So I don't know
Right.
if by that time that maybe my friends would advise me to run
Right.
if I'm really capacitated. I don't know if
Inshallah.
by then I'll be fully equipped.
Wait,
Mm.
that's amazing. So, what's something you're currently learning or trying to improve at, which is something we just spoke about, right? Or are
Yeah,
there more things you're learning or trying to improve?
yeah, sticking to um, one thing at a time.
Okay,
I do a lot of things, and
okay.
I'm passionate about a lot of things. So sometimes,
So, what are you passionate about?
education, sports, perfumes.
Yeah, I know we spoke about the perfumes.
Yeah, I'm not passionate about cars, but these days,
Yeah, you're
yeah,
starting to
yeah, I'm
be.
seeing a lot of beautiful cars and finance.
Hmm. So, how do you balance it all? How do you give in like sports their attention, like the perfume, the cars? How do you balance it all?
To be honest, I feel like everyone has their own gift, but funny enough, I could remember things from 20 years ago in details. Yes,
Seriously?
if you ask any of my friends, whenever we talk,
Oh,
so it's more like my brain has the ability to keep up with a lot of information. In fact,
oh.
after this interview, I'll tell you something that you forgot.
Okay, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So I
That's
feel
a
like
gift.
it's not something that I stress myself over. If I
Mm.
will sit here, whatever it is you talk about, I'll have some little
Some,
idea to talk about. The same topic because,
yes,
and it's actually subconscious.
right.
Yes, I don't actually sit down and practice. Okay, I need to know this, and it
Oh,
just comes
it
naturally.
comes to you
Yeah.
naturally. So, what's the best advice you've received and from who? What's the best advice you've ever received?
Legacy is better than money.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're working towards that, like more
Yes.
legacy
Yes. My dad
than.
always told me that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, how do you handle challenges and setbacks?
So I'm not a fast decision maker.
Okay.
If you expect me to make a decision on the go,
Mm.
then we're bound to fail.
So, what about when it comes to family as well?
Yeah,
There
when
are
it
some
comes to
decisions
family,
that you.
it's as a Muslim, I believe in God's word.
Yes.
So when God said that whenever He puts you in a position of power, a position of leadership,
Mm.
He owes you the characteristics of Himself.
Right.
That's Ya Malik.
Yes.
So the decisions that you make in your family, affairs, some of them, when you come out of it, you'll be like, let me make this decision.
Mm.
Because you see that those decisions are actually very, very intellectual and intelligent. And maybe based on the way you rate yourself, you
Mm.
feel these are decisions that my parents used to take, and now I'm taking them. So it's more of a spiritual thing, and
Yes.
yeah, you always pray for guidance in your family affairs.
Right.
Every day you pray. So these are things that we don't brag about. We just know it's from God.
God,
Yeah, it's
yes.
not from our own intellectual ability. Yeah.
So, is there anything you want to tell us about that we don't know or you feel we should know?
Hmm.
and the people watching. Is there anything you want to share with us
Yeah.
about anything? Okay.
Well, there's it's not an attack on any generation.
Okay.
So, but this generation, not our own, not calling it the one after us,
Yes.
or the one after the ones after us.
That's like Gen Z.
Me, I did not say that. Before you come at me.
Yeah.
So, when you go on social media, you see them saying, hold your truth. It's your truth. My truth is my truth. Your truth is your
Yeah.
truth. All as excuses, to do the things. And it has made the society, the perception of what the truth is now is more important than the truth in itself.
Can you give me an example of what you mean?
The perception of truth is more important than the truth in itself. Now, when you see a lot of uh, feminists
Yes.
talking about. So, first of all, principles are universal, but experiences are peculiar. So, I might have gone through something, and that is how I see it. It doesn't necessarily mean that is the universal way. It might be that I fell in the wrong time. So now, when I come and accuse every man that has beard
Yeah.
to be this person, because a man that had beard did something, and almost everyone from your generation is believing you because that is what they
Right.
perceive the truth to be, and that is not the
That's
actual
not the
truth.
truth,
So,
yes.
so it has made that mentality has made the world, or it has made the social media world a chaotic place.
Right.
And there's something I always tell people: do not follow. Another advice I'll give people is do not follow trends. You see, foolishness it's a very good quality. Because yes, now because someone has to be foolish
Yes.
for wisdom to have value to have
Have
any
value,
value. You
yes.
understand? If there's no foolish people, there's no point for having wise people.
Right.
So now I can come and have a TikTok account, and in that TikTok I'll take off all my clothes and be dancing.
Yes.
Now some other people will come to that
Same
scene,
TikTok.
insult me, another person will come and hail me, but all in all, everyone is clicking. And TikTok cannot pay me for good reviews, bad reviews, they're just paying me for clicks. So it has made
Right.
foolishness
Like,
a gem now. Everybody wants to be foolish because it's bringing money.
Right.
So I would advise you that regardless of the fact that that foolishness is bringing money, do not do it just to get that money.
Right.
Because 40 years later,
that's where the legacy comes, right? And like having integrity.
yes, and the money will not be there
Right.
to change whatever narrative is.
Yes.
So that's my advice. Don't follow trend and always stick to the truth. Do not make truth dependent on experience.
Right. That's beautiful. So, are there any like parting words? Anything else?
Well, let's pray for Nigeria. That's all the time when I don't like the idea of fuck this country.
Yes.
This country should die.
So you like you said, you're a positive person, and you
Yes,
believe like
always.
that change is going to come.
Yes. So I would advise my fellow Nigerians
Yes.
to put an end to religious and ethnic, propaganda. When I was growing up in
Yeah.
Jos, my neighbors were Christians in Plateau Hospital, were on the first floor.
Yes.
We always, we always came to our house to eat. In fact, I didn't even know that Christians and Muslims had this really, any cause for alarm. Yeah,
yes.
we were
It was
all
like
together.
it was
Yeah,
all
so I advise
togetherness.
Nigerians to please put that aside
Right.
and all become one and always pray for Nigeria.
Right.
So that's my last words for
Thank you
podcast.
so much, Mr. Musa. Thank you
you
so
too.
much. We should definitely have a second. We should have a rerun. I feel like
Sure.
there's so much more we need to talk about.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
Anytime.
Inshallah.
Anytime.
Thank you so much for coming,
You're
and I
welcome.
learned so much from this.
Thank you very, very
So
much.
thank you so much for tuning in, and do not forget to subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram at the Samira Space. and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.